Now, it's a little frustrating. Literally all the parts I have out for delivery, not even out for delivery, just like in transit for this car, all delayed between like every single shipping company. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Our engine, our hood scoop stuff, some other goodies I have coming for the car. It's actually surprising. I've never had that happen before. But anyways, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to the channel. So since flaring the car, I've had a decent amount of questions from you guys like, hey, how does the car drive? Do you scrape? Do you rub? Does it handle any differently? All types of questions regarding to this. So I figured today would be a good idea to make this video of what it's like to drive a flared car. This could be applied to any car. Now, if you guys remember when we cut up the fenders on this, yes, we did cut the fronts, we did cut the rears to make more clearance for the wheels and tires. I have seen some people in the past flare a car and not cut the fender. I don't exactly know why. I feel like if you're gonna go with flares, you're gonna fully commit to it and you're actually gonna cut them. Otherwise, there's not really any point in doing flares unless it's some type of weird aesthetic thing. Aesthetically, they do look good, but the main purpose for flares is to run a bigger wheel and tire setup. I mainly did it for aesthetics, but hey, the plus here, we get bigger wheels and tires. So to answer some of these questions right off the bat, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna go chooch the car around a little bit because we haven't done a driving video in quite some time. So you know what that means. We're gonna go give her the beans. I couldn't find any beans, but I found this thing of oats, and that's honestly the closest thing I could find in the pantry. So we'll go out, we'll drive the car a little bit. I'll show you guys like there's not really any differences. We're just gonna go drive the car with the flared setup and like give you guys an impression. So, was there anything else I wanted to say before we go out and drive? I don't remember. I do remember. We got distracted by the oat bean thing. As you guys remember, I did take the car down to Fuse Fabrication. I did have Kyle weld everything for the rear quarter panels. We put seam sealer in there. If you're gonna like flare or wide body a car, you need to take the like precautionary steps of reinforcing the areas that you cut if it is a structural area like the rear quarter panels, and you also need to make sure everything's sealed up so that way water and everything doesn't get in there. I have tested this. No water gets up through there, which is good. That's exactly what we want. But enough talking. Let's go drive this thing and do some like fun, weird commentary. So to answer some of your guys' questions, one of the big ones that came up was like, does the car feel any different? Does it handle any different? Does it handle worse? Does it handle better? Honestly, I can't really tell the difference. Like, even though we just went from, what was it, a 17x8 wheel to an 18x11, we didn't go up like terribly big in tire size. We went from like a 245 35 up to a 265 35. So while the contact patch itself got bigger, I didn't really notice a massive difference in how the car drives. I do think one of the biggest things I did notice though was the car felt a lot more touchy via the through the steering wheel at this point. Like, it could just be due to the fact that the contact patch is bigger on the tire and I'm also moving more weight, so it's a little bit more weight transfer from side to side whenever I'm like touching it. But for the most part, no, the car still feels and handles great. And I'll show you guys that. There's a road that we're gonna go out to real quick here and go play with it. One thing though that does kind of sketch me out about driving anything that's wider than stock after you've been driving it for a while is the fact that you don't re-understand placement of the vehicle at first, or the car at first. Look at that, no rubbing. Rub-free zone. But like going through narrow drive-throughs or like driving on the street, if I feel like someone's getting too close, I have to remember that each side of the car is 2.5 inches wider at this point. So keeping that in mind, you gotta remember like spacing and whatnot with everyone else. It's not that I don't trust myself driving, it's that I don't trust anybody else. That's my big problem. I would say that getting into power with the car does feel a lot, what's the word? It feels, I don't wanna say better, but I feel more confident that I know it's going to grip up. Like, even though it's a stretch tire and everything, yeah, it's a 265 on an 18x11 wheel, it still hooks up just fine, no issues. Like, I was expecting, all right, maybe it's just not going to, maybe it's gonna feel a little bit squirrely. It does feel like there's a small bit of torque steer, but I also attribute that to the size of the wheel. Just going to any excessively wide wheel, it's gonna happen. Of course, I'm not gonna make the light. Why would I make the light? Like, when we go down here and hop on the freeway, the on-ramp, I'll show you, I'll get into power a little bit, just to show you guys, like, I don't feel like the car is gonna walk away from me at this point because of the wheel and tire setup, but I feel like it just needs a little bit extra attention. Just a little bit of extra attention. Hello, Subaru friend. I think that was Thomas. Thomas, if that was you, and you watch this video, please feel free to say hello back. Hello, Thomas. That's like the 5th Subaru I've seen this morning. Everyone's out and about today. Alright, we'll do a quick power pull. Full confidence in the car to do what I need it to. I will say it does feel like it grips up a little bit better. We didn't also jump to a massive tire, we just jumped to a massive wheel. I mean, even going like, what are we, we're going like 65 right now, like I still feel fully confident in the car. I've seen some massive wheel and tire setups that people have done on flared and wide-bodied cars. It just does not handle well at all. It's like, especially on like bagged cars, you're sacrificing a lot going to a massive wheel and tire setup with a stretch tire on bags. You are sacrificing so much handling and responsiveness from the car. It's insane. This, I feel like, is a lot more reasonable, especially for daily driving. Like, I haven't ran into any issues with daily driving this thing yet. It clear speed bumps just fine. You're not allowed to turn around there. Clear speed bumps just fine. I'm able to go lock to lock on the car just fine, which I'll show you guys at the end of this video in a parking lot. One of my main concerns was rubbing. Am I going to rub on the new fender, I guess you could call it, the flare? After we did all that cutting and trimming to the fenders, no issues at all. Boop. Can still go over bumps just fine. Like, nothing is stopping me. Nothing. Except for this truck with the giant Raven sticker on the back of it. Sir, could you please speed up just a little bit? And I guess what I'm saying in this video can also be applied to wide body cars. Like, I've never had a wide body car, but I feel like it's pretty similar to that of a flared car, because you're essentially doing the same thing. You're just using flares instead of like a wide body. At least we got the power to back it up. At least we got some power to back up the flares. She ain't all show, she's got some go. She's about to have some more go soon. Oh, there's a little white WRX right here. Fight me. I challenge you to a duel. Watch, I can still turn corners pretty sharp and like at a decent speed too, and not have any like rubbing or anything. What the hell is happening here? I just need to get behind this semi, like I just need to go right here. Doo-doo. This guy behind me thinks he's so cool because he has his hand over the top of the steering wheel. And he's driving a Kia Soul. You ain't cool. See, like these more twisty back road kind of fun places, I like testing cars on because it gives you like a general overall sense of how it's doing. We'll take the inside, I guess. Like, it still feels great. No complaints at all with how this thing like handles after doing the flared setup. It doesn't rub on anything, which I'm crazy surprised about, but that's also going to heavily depend on your wheel and tire size, how low you go, what your suspension is, how aggressive your springs are. There's a lot of factors that actually go into it, but the way that I have mine set up right now is pretty perfect. We have about, realistically, I'd say ½ inch gap between the top of the tire and where the wheel is. Oh my god, you're in an S5. Come on, pick it up. S5, go! This is a road that I like to come out and test on because it gives a lot of different variables. Lets you feel all the bumps in the road, if you're gonna rub, if you're gonna scrape. So that was another thing people were asking me about, is does the car scrape at all? Like, no. car still doesn't scrape, doesn't bottom out, nothing like that. It's still fully usable. I can go to a Best Buy parking lot, not have any issues. I do think if I were to change one thing, I think I would have gone with a meatier tire setup. I think I would have gone with something a little bit bigger, like a 285/40 or a 285/35 instead of this 265/35. But that's something that we can totally correct later down the road. See, look, super sharp corner. No rubbing, no scraping, no nothing. Daily driving a flared or wide body car, totally doable as long as you have it set up right. As long as it's not slammed on its nuts, but that can be said about a stock body car too. As long as it's not like slammed, you're totally fine to do it. Like, look, here's some train tracks coming up. Am I stressed about it? Not at all. Am I even gonna slow down? Hell no, I'm just gonna go right over them. Boom. Okay, I guess those train tracks in essence weren't really that bad, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. But I mean, overall, can't complain with it. This flared setup has been holding up great for the past like week I've been driving on it without any issues. The only time I've ever rubbed is when I was going down like a parkway that was angled and I was going at it at a stupid angle and I didn't really have much of a choice, but any normal like stock body car would have rubbed as well. But let's go head up this parking lot so that way we can do some lock-to-lock testing to show you, like, there is no restrictions here. No restrictions. So I found a super secret testing facility. Let me show you lock-to-lock because it's actually kind of cool. Clears everything. Honestly, more than happy with how the flares came out. There's really not much to worry about if you do decide to flare or wide body your car. Keep in mind, I don't have fender liners up here anymore. If you are going to do something like this, you either need to find a solution for fender liners, but for the most part, you don't lose any daily drivability aspects. I clear speed bumps just fine. I don't rub or like scrape on anything. It's perfect. The camera literally just didn't record any of my outro, so this is outro 2.0. Anyways, that is all I got for you guys on this one. So hopefully it answers your questions regarding wide bodying or flaring a car and daily driving it. Keep in mind that when you go to like an excessively wide wheel, like an 18x11, 18x12, it is going to be putting, sun, why do we do this? It's going to be putting more stress on your wheel bearing, so that may be something that become more of a serviceable item in the future. Just fully keep that in mind if you do decide to do this. But as for like driving the car on a daily basis, absolutely no issues with it. I tested the rear quarters to make sure that no water got in there. I sprayed them with a hose the other day just to see if water would get into the trunk. Everything sealed up properly. So if you are going to be doing it, just remember, weld and seam seal your rear quarters so that way you're not blasting your trunk full of water. There's a plane. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. So hopefully it answers your questions. If there's anything that I missed that you guys are curious about, feel free, drop a comment down below. You know your boy's gonna get back to it at some point. And with that, let's do a color of the day as green today because we are in Washington State and that plane is very loud. And with that, what did I say with that again? If you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, go ahead, hit that button, one of these corners, no idea which one I'll put it in quite yet. Now, with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully, I'll see you guys on Sunday at Big Northwest. Peace out, homies. Woo!